There are some dualities. Nichols really, really liked playing up these parallel lives to show the struggle between one generation to another. So we're going to have two rival women who happen to be mother and daughter. So we're going to have the young, innocent, fresh-faced girl going against her own mother. Location. It all takes place in California, relatively close to each other. But Los Angeles is going to be super busy, super economical. There's going to be a lot of pressure on Benjamin when he's in this location, which is going to be mirrored by Berkeley, the free-thinking college, a relaxed feel where he can be freer to explore his relationship with the girl. Materialism versus intellectualism. Especially in the opening, towards the opening scenes or in the beginning, we're going to see that that Benjamin is going to be praised because he's, the smartest kid. He's the captain of the cross-country team. He's the captain of the debate team. He's going to be little Mr. Perfect, but people are going to pressure him to, hey, go get a job, go to graduate school, become super successful. But they're also going to be like, hey, you're so great, take some time off. So we're going to see some really contradicting ideas coming at him, which I believe is what really confuses him. He doesn't know what's more important, getting that high-powered job or just being smart and being a full person. Morals. Morals are going to be pretty low. We're going to have an affair going on very, very quickly. So morality or moral drifting versus an indecisive character versus someone who's really willing to commit, someone who's really innocent and has really strong values. And so we're going to see those two worlds collide in a big way. Which leads us to our actors, and there are some fun stories behind these actors. Anne Bancroft is the wife of Mel Brooks Sr., and she's only 6 years older than Dustin Hoffman. Dustin Hoffman is 29 when they make this film, playing a 21-year-old, and so that puts her at about 35, playing the older, seductress mother character. She's also only 8 years older than her daughter, so it's really, really interesting that they chose this actress. Other people, there was a ton of other people considered for these roles. So the two main characters, really, it took a long time for them to be cast. Candice Bergen, Ava Gardner, Judy Garland, Doris Day, who were all hugely successful and famous women of the time. And she is the wife of Ben's father's law partner. So Ben's dad is going to be a really successful lawyer. He's going to have a partner, and she's going to be his wife, which makes it super, super complicated as this affair began. Dustin Hoffman, Benjamin Braddock. We've seen him in a ton of films today, but in his earlier days, he was a little awkward, a little goofy. When he tried out, he actually screwed up so much that he never thought he would be cast. In the first scene, there were two scenes that he filmed, one with Anne Bancroft, and he accidentally grabbed her chest in the scene, and it was super, super awkward, and it ended up in Dustin Hoffman was hysterical, Nichols was hysterical, and Nichols liked it so much that they actually put it in the film. So, I will point that scene out to you. And he didn't know his lines. He didn't take this audition very seriously because he was actually technically cast in Mel Brooks' The Producers. And as an actor, when you sign to a studio or you sign to a certain project, if you don't honor that commitment or honor that contract, there's severe, usually really severe penalties. And oftentimes, once you're signed to a certain project, they won't even let you audition for another project. But because Mel Brooks' wife was involved in the project, when he realized that Dustin Hoffman came to him and said, hey, they asked me to audition for this particular role, he literally laughed hysterically. He's like, no way you're going to get this role because you would have to be a romantic interest for my wife. So he's hysterical about the whole situation and says, hey, I give you my blessing, whatever, go audition. And he actually got the role. So that was kind of a funny little tidbit as to how he was not supposed to audition, but he did, and he ended up getting the role. He plays a 21-year-old college graduate student. Like I said, he's 29, but he looks really young, and I think he does a good job playing that particular age. like with Mrs. Robinson, we see there's a lot of characters or a lot of people that were actually going to be cast before him. Warren Beatty was cast. Burt Ward, who was the Batman in the 60s, he was cast. Jack Nicholson was up for it. Robert Redford really was Nichols' first choice, but when they screen tested him, Robert Redford was like the hunk of the day. And so since he was so hunky and so attractive, he thought that it would never be believable that Robert Redford would have any sort of girl trouble. So he was actually taken out of the role. Elaine Robinson was played by Catherine Ross. Other people considered were Patty Duke and Sally Field, whose names probably are familiar to you. And she is Mrs. Robinson's daughter and obviously Ben's father's lawyer's daughter. So they have strong family ties, and throughout the film, Ben's father's partner really wants Elaine and Benjamin to get together. So kind of an interesting dynamic there. Here he's essentially got both girls, both mother and daughter, really interested in him. William Daniels plays Mr. Braddock. Again, that Boy Meets World reference. He played Mr. Feeney in Boy Meets World, which you might see on ABC or at Disney. He's a lawyer and pressures his son to pursue his academic careers. He's actually only 39 in this particular movie. So again, it was really interesting how close in age the parents and the kids were when filming. Ronald Reagan was considered for this role. Ronald Reagan was a very famous actor before he became a politician. So could have been a completely different life for Ronald Reagan had he taken this particular role. There are a lot of themes that we're going to be looking for. Benjamin is really lost and frustrated, and there's a lot of images of drowning. So there's a lot of water images that we're going to see with his character. He's frustrated because he's trying to be an adult, but he's not quite ready for that adult experience. Plastics or materialism, again, is one of those big themes that we're going to see. And The Sound of Silence, which again is a Simon and Garfunkel song, we're going to see that silence is going to be a big recurring issue for Benjamin in particular. And he's going to be stuck by society. So even though he wants to break out, he doesn't quite know how to do it, and he doesn't handle his life pretty well at this particular time. So just some connections I want to make. The Simpsons have done many spoofs on The Graduate. This famous leg shot, you'll see this leg shot in a lot of sitcoms and even in a lot of movies. So when you see this is an homage to The Graduate. What was interesting about this particular episode, way back in '91, before you were even born, Dustin Hoffman plays the teacher that Mrs. Krabappel is seducing. If you've seen any of the American Pie films, Stifler's mom, the kind of that idea of a cougar going after the younger guy, that was a direct connection to The Graduate. So if you've seen any of those films, the whole idea of the cougar in general really came out of this particular film. It had never really been done before, having the older woman seduce the much younger man. And now there's even a TV show that's all about just that concept, and we see it told in movies time and time again. In 2005, a movie with Jennifer Aniston came out called Rumor Has It, and it's all based on The Graduate. Somehow her grandmother was the person, in this particular film, the woman who plays her grandmother was the inspiration for Mrs. Robinson, and so it's this whole like spoofy thing. The movie's not good, don't see it, but it's all based off of The Graduate. Wayne's World, has anyone seen Wayne's World in here? Yeah, it's an older film, but it's a guy film. There's going to be direct connections to the ending, and I'll talk more about that. They literally kind of remade some things shot for shot to pay homage to The Graduate. All right, so that puts us at enjoying the film. All right, we have about 10 minutes, so you know what? I'm actually going to start it. I didn't think we were going to have time. Maddie, you can cut that out.